Have you ever asked yourself, why do I keep attracting the wrong men? Not just once, but again and again and again. Why do the ones who seem charming at first turn cold the moment you start caring? Why do they pull away right when you open your heart? Why do the men you want most seem the least interested? If you've ever sat in silence, staring at your phone, hoping for a reply that never came, if you've ever changed your tone, your body, your interests, just to be more likable to him, if you've ever felt like no matter how much you give, it's never enough to keep the right man around, then listen closely. Because what you're about to hear isn't just advice, it's the truth you were never told. A truth that no one teaches. It's a truth that flips the entire game. You've been taught to try harder, to look better, to be sweeter, to be less intimidating. You've been taught to mold yourself, shrink yourself in the name of love. But let me ask you something. If you're the one always adjusting, always giving, always waiting, then who's the one being pursued? Because in that equation, it's not you. You were born worthy. You were born powerful. But somewhere along the way, the world convinced you to forget that. And today we're going to remind you who you are. Because you are the secret. You are the magnet. You are the woman high-value men are desperately searching for. But only if you remember how to be her. This isn't about being perfect. It's not about playing games. It's not about changing who you are. It's about becoming more of who you truly are. The version of you that doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't settle. Stay with this message until the end, because if you do, you'll walk away with one truth that can change everything. One secret, a shift in mindset so powerful, it'll make you stop chasing love and start attracting it. This isn't hype, it's human psychology. Because men, especially high-value men, don't fall for the loudest, the prettiest, or the most available. They fall for energy. They fall for authenticity. They fall for a woman who knows who she is, even when no one is watching. But before we get to that secret, you need to understand the game you were pulled into, and why playing by its rules has only led to disappointment. Let's talk about truth. The truth is, most women were conditioned, slowly, silently, to believe their value lies in being chosen. Think about that. From fairy tales to movies to social media, the message has been clear: be chosen, be liked, be picked. So naturally, many women have grown up believing that love is a reward, that attention is a sign of worth, that validation from a man means you're finally enough. But that belief is a trap. Because the moment you think love is something you must earn, you start performing. You become the version of yourself you think he wants. You smile more. You talk less. You say, it's fine, when it's not. You start walking on eggshells just to stay desirable. And high-value men, they can sense it. Not because they're better or smarter, but because they're tuned in to energy, and they can feel when a woman is disconnected from herself. You see, confidence isn't in your outfit. It's not in your makeup. It's in your silence. It's in the way you carry yourself when no one's watching. It's in the way you say no, without guilt, without fear. That kind of woman doesn't chase. She doesn't compete. She doesn't need to be picked, because she already chose herself. And that's the secret high-value men can't resist. But wait, you might be thinking, that's not me. I've made mistakes. I've begged. I've chased. I've lowered my standards. So what? Who hasn't? This isn't about your past. It's about your power. And the truth is, power isn't something you earn. It's something you awaken. And sometimes, all it takes is one voice, one moment, one truth, to remind you of what's been inside you all along. They told you that to attract a man, you need to be beautiful. So you bought the products, perfected the pose, learned to paint your face like a masterpiece. They said you needed to be fun, light-hearted, never too much, so you laughed when it hurt. You silenced your voice. You played small. And all the while, they were feeding you a lie, a quiet, deadly illusion. Because none of that is what makes a woman magnetic to a man of true worth. See, society doesn't want you powerful. It wants you distracted. It wants you chasing approval, stuck in a cycle of constant comparison, judging your value by followers, comments, swipes. It tells you you're not enough until you look like her, sound like her, live like her. And while you chase that illusion, the real you, the one with fire in her soul, the one with wisdom, depth, mystery, gets buried, forgotten. But here's the truth: the woman who attracts a high-value man isn't the loudest. She isn't the most polished. She isn't the one who plays by society's rules. She's the one who broke them. Because she knows something that most don't. External beauty may spark attention, but it is internal power that creates connection. Real, lasting, soul-level attraction isn't built on lip gloss and selfies. It's built on energy, on identity, on the quiet confidence that comes from a woman who knows who she is and refuses to apologize for it. They never told you that, did they? They never told you that the woman who walks into a room and doesn't need to be seen is often the one who is felt the most. That grace isn't in the way you move your body. It's in the way you carry your spirit. That mystery isn't found in what you hide, but in what you've mastered. They taught you to be loud, to compete, to post-perform and pretend. But the women who truly attract the highest quality men, they aren't chasing attention. They're focused on becoming unforgettable. Because while society teaches surface, real power is hidden in the depth. And depth is rare, it's magnetic, and it cannot be faked. Let's talk psychology. The human brain is wired for patterns. It craves what's familiar. And if all it sees is imitation, a parade of women trying to be something they're not, then someone real, someone different, disrupts the pattern. That disruption is what makes a high-value man pause. Look again, think deeper. Because a man of real worth isn't looking for entertainment. He's looking for alignment. He's not chasing a fantasy. He's watching to see if a woman is grounded in her truth. And most aren't, because they're stuck in the illusion. Here's the trap: society teaches women that they have to earn love, that they must be pleasing, perfect, passive, that their worth is dependent on their ability to attract and keep a man. But psychology teaches something else. It teaches that when a woman believes in her value, she stops chasing love and starts choosing it. She stops asking, "How can I get him to like me?" and starts asking, "Do I even want him in my life?" That shift, from desperation to discernment, is what separates the average from the extraordinary. High-value men feel that. They sense when a woman is trying to get them. And they also sense when a woman doesn't need to get them at all, because she already has herself. And that's where the illusion breaks. Because the truth is, the more you try to attract, the more you repel. The more you force, the more you block. The more you perform, the more you lose authentic connection. Society teaches performance, but real connection is about presence, being in your body, in your truth, in your power. Let's get brutally honest. You were never meant to be everyone's type. You were meant to be someone's exception. You were never supposed to play a part. You were meant to write your own script. You were never meant to blend in. You were built to stand out in silence, in stillness, in strength. But strength looks different in a woman who's done the work. She doesn't scream it. She embodies it. She walks like she knows the ground beneath her belongs to her. She speaks like her words matter, not because they seek attention, but because they come from intention. This kind of woman doesn't look around to see what's trending. She looks inward to see what's true. She doesn't mimic. She manifests. She doesn't beg to be chosen. She chooses herself. And that decision echoes in everything she does. And you can become her, because she is already inside of you. The illusion has just made you forget. It made you forget that softness is strength, that your intuition is your gift, that your value isn't measured in replies or rings. It's measured in how you feel about yourself when the world goes quiet. The woman who attracts high-value men doesn't need validation from strangers. She doesn't need to prove her worth with performance. Because her power was never in her appearance, it was in her alignment. So ask yourself right now, am I chasing what they told me to want, or am I becoming who I was always meant to be? Because once you let go of the illusion, you become dangerous. Not because you intimidate men, but because you inspire the right ones. The illusion says, be perfect. Reality says, be present. The illusion says, be desirable. Truth says, be disciplined in who you give your energy to. The illusion says, be wanted. Power says, be unavailable to anything that doesn't meet your standard. You don't need to manipulate. You don't need to play games. You don't need to mold yourself into anyone's fantasy. You need to remember who you are before the world told you who to be. You need to come home to your soul. You need to protect your peace like your future depends on it. Because it does. The kind of man who is built, focused, purpose-driven, powerful. He isn't looking for noise. He's looking for clarity. He's not impressed by popularity. He's impressed by presence. And when he meets a woman who has done the work, who isn't seeking approval but walking in alignment, he knows. He knows she is rare, not because she tried to stand out, but because she simply refused to shrink. You don't find a high-value man by following the crowd. You attract him by becoming a woman the crowd can't define. A woman who is seen, not because she demands it, but because her light cannot be ignored.